What's going on? It's your boy Deuce Wayne.
What's good? It's Big Merv in the building as always.
Yes, sir. We have a special episode, and it's very special because we have our guy, the SNC guy. And who better to have on this type of episode because he is super himself. But our guy Tanner Care, Mr. Care, thank you for coming on SceneDMs. It's gonna be a great episode having you on. But how you been? What you been up to?
Good, man. Appreciate you guys having me on, man. I've watched from afar. I've enjoyed all your stuff, man. I'm excited to be on here, man. Talk soups.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be fun. Man, we're gonna talk about Tanner in a bit, but first, Merv, how you been? Let's catch up. Like, it's been a minute since we've been on the pod.
Yeah, it has been. I'm blessed though. We've seen a lot of movies since the last time we were on the pod, so we have a lot to talk about. I'll tell you that much.
A lot to talk about, a lot to review. Tanner, man, first with you, before we get into the film stuff, we like to always say that we're not just cinephiles, but we're also basketball players. You know, we don't like to get put into a box. And speaking of a box, I wanted to ask you what your experience has been, because when I met you, you were actually working at SFU, a college, and then you started working with the Bandits, and now you're also working with the BC Lions. So that's covering a whole range of sports, versatile, if you will. I wanted to ask you what your experience at the different levels has been like when it comes to working with athletes in college versus with pros, and then obviously the differences between the different sports.
Yeah, no, it's all been really good, man. It's been a journey. They're two totally different environments, you know, like collegiate, you got to be a little bit more tight-lipped. You got to be very careful with how you address kids, right? I mean, being in a university setting too, like you got to keep that demeanor about you. Whereas the pros, like you can be a little bit more genuine, a little bit more authentic. You can remove a lot of the fluff and just like tell it how it is to the people you're working with. Because that's the main difference. Is like when you're in a collegiate scene, you're really in charge of just fostering that person's growth throughout their whole tenure in school, whereas like in the pros, like we're co-workers. Like, right, I'm a resource to you guys, just like you're a resource to me. We learn from each other, we work with one another, and we're all just trying to accomplish the same thing, right? So it's just kind of the same but kind of different, you know. And then obviously with the different sports, like I see a lot more similarities than differences. Like football, basketball, like very, very different, do not get me wrong, but there's a lot of similarities with that. And like in the collegiate scene, I worked a lot with like track and field athletes, and like I take a lot of carryover from my experience in track and field to basketball with football and things like that. So it's all about just like identifying those things and really just creating a system that works for the players at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, it's a great point. I think it makes sense because especially being Jamaican, I don't know about you, Merv, but I started off in like soccer. Also getting into track and field, just playing in middle school. So just seeing how transferable those skills are is a lot of like foundational stuff that you can utilize into other sports that helps us excel at basketball, in my opinion. But you hit on a great point that I think is a debate that we've talked about a lot, especially amongst us athletes. But really quickly, don't mean to put you on the spot, but who do you think is a better athlete between a football player and a basketball player? And do you think it's easier for a basketball player to go and play football or for a football player to go and play basketball?
You know what? I'll say basketball is a more athletic sport overall.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Like if you think, everybody thinks football. Everybody thinks football because all they see is outputs. They see people run fast, jump high, throw people around. But I don't think outputs is necessarily like the definition of athleticism, right? Just because you got a big engine under the hood does not make you a better athlete. I look at somebody like a Kyrie, right? Like a LeBron, like nobody is moving like them in football. And I think in terms of like transferability, I think in a lot of ways, like more hoopers can go play football than vice versa.
Wow. Uche, Merv, whoever else came at me about
I never came at you.
Oh, okay. I thought you, okay.
I was on your side.
I have the receipts.
I was on your side.
Okay.
I said Zion and Bron and these guys, they'll be fine.
Okay. All right. Bet. All right. But we were talking about movies. You know, obviously it's my third season with the Bandits, so knowing Tanner for a while, just getting to know him. He's always talked about, I never forget, I think when I came back in like October, November, and I was, you know, working out with Tanner, I was going through my rerun of watching like the old Batmans, like the animated Batman TV shows, and I started watching Superman. He would comment on my Instagram stories and be like, "Nah, no way!" Like, you know what I'm saying? He was locked in, so he knows what he's talking about. Before we get into the Superman stuff, obviously recently the new James Gunn Superman came out. What is your preference? Are you a DC guy or are you a Marvel guy? What has it been for you growing up historically, and how are you feeling now? Like, what team are you? Are you on both sides?
No, I've always been a DC person, always. Like, I think Marvel very much like the same tone, same kind of like vibe, you know, like very surface level. What I've always liked about DC is just like the depth of the characters, the depth of like the tones that you get from the different cities, the different characters, the different like nemesis, you know what I mean? Like there's levels to it. Whereas Marvel's, I find a little bit more surface.
Merv, what about you?
Depends what we're talking about. When it comes to comics, like actual physical comics, obviously, and animated TV shows, I would have to say DC for sure. But otherwise, man, Marvel ain't no slouch now. They got some people over there, and they got some pretty good storylines and pretty different sets of people like mutants. You know what I mean? And what are they called again? Those guys? With Black Bolt and them. They're called Black Bolt, man. You know, this group is called something.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's a whole bunch of groups. That's what I'm pretty much gonna say.
Yeah.
And Ghost Riders, you know what I mean, the Midnight Suns, you know what I mean, stuff like that. They have different groups and different genres and different Blade, you know, stuff like that. So I can't really just fully give it to DC, but I definitely understand where you're coming from with that because of, you know what I mean, animated TV shows and what we grew up watching. I can definitely understand that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Great points by both of you guys. Tanner, really quickly, what was your introduction to Superman? Because I know for me growing up, I've always been a Batman guy. I think I definitely lean towards DC a little bit more. But like Merv said, it just depends on what you want. What your preference is. Sometimes Marvel, I think, like I'm a big X-Men guy too. I think through high school I was able to relate to them a lot, especially with some of those shows that came out. But when it comes to Superman, what was your first introduction? Because like I said, for me, I think outside of physically reading him in comic books that my dad may have had laying around the crib, I didn't see the first 4 Superman films with Christopher Reeves throughout my childhood. Obviously, that's way, past my time, before my time. So for you, like, what was your introduction to Superman? What made you gravitate towards that character?
Yeah, I didn't really get into the comics until like way later, like I think even like post university. But I mean, like I'm a 1992 baby.
Yes,
like
sir.
I mean, I grew up with like Superman animated series, like Justice League Unlimited. Yeah. Then that goes into like Smallville, and then we're talking. I mean, there was like the first, if you will, live action modern day live action Superman, right? But for me, like the pinnacle of all that was the Man of Steel. That's my favorite Superman film. It still is my favorite Superman film. I think in terms of like what draws me to Superman, I think honestly, if you look at like a lot of his stuff, just black and white, like he's overpowered, and overpowered can be kind of like boring, Of course. But I mean, I think his character, his value system is what makes him a little bit more entertaining. That's what that internal struggle, you know what I mean? Like he every day he has choices, right? And it's like that's the bedrock of why he is who he is, right? Which is awesome. Like, and for me anyways, like the original kind of bit with him and Jor-El and the Man of Steel, like that 10-minute clip of him like, this is what the symbol is, this is what it means, this is what our family's about, like every person is a person for good kind of thing. It's like, what if a child's like aspired to be something more, right? Like I love that, and like that's I think that kind of encapsulates like why Superman is such a great superhero, period. But that's why I've always liked him. And then obviously as I got a little bit older, I got into the comic books a little bit more, and now we got the modern day movie out, obviously.
Yeah. I think you made some great points because, like you said, similar to me, I think that was my trajectory, Murph. I think I was watching the Justice Leagues, the animated shows first. And I'm like, okay, Swoop's fire. And then going from there, obviously Smallville, I thought was a great adaptation of him. Just seeing him learn how to be himself, especially as a guy who loves like the year one Batman. I love like a Clarke Kent trying to figure it out and developing his powers as his puberty's going along or whatever, and learning his powers as he gets older. But Murph, for you, what do you think is the biggest lore to Superman, and why are you a fan of him? Because I've always heard you in the past, even growing up when we're playing on different teams, just always speaking about how difficult it is for them to make a Superman game, one, and two, for them to make just Superman movies successful in general because of how powerful he is, like Tanner mentioned.
Well, his lore obviously is just him being, like Tanner said, like overpowered, man. Like he's the most powerful being, or one of the most powerful beings in the DC universe or comic book universe in general. He really is OP for sure. but his lore is just like him being like a symbol of like hope, you know what I mean, and him being something that everybody aspires to be, you know what I mean. Everybody wants to be either him or be like him, you know what I mean, some way or fashion. Like Shazam, you know what I mean, like how he wants to be exactly like Superman. And even when Superman goes a little bit to the left, he's like, yo, why are you doing that, Superman? You're Superman. What are you doing? Like, da. So I think that like when it comes to Superman's lore, like he is just a symbol of hope. And where Batman is also a symbol of hope, but in a different like light, you know what I mean? So I feel like their contrasts are pretty good. But I think growing up, when we played the old Superman game, I seen a post about it the other day about a throwback, and I was like, yo, I missed this game. But he's just unfair, bro. He's just like, you can't have him in a video game because you have to dumb down his powers, because really and truly he shouldn't be getting hurt. Even in like Justice League Unlimited and all those, when he used to get like regular people used to punch him and they'd be like, and I was like, fam, that wouldn't happen. That's like literally would not happen. Like, yeah, your knuckles are breaking. So I feel like that's what's so difficult to make movies for him, and also like video games, because if you want to go comic book accurate, he's really never weak. You know what I mean? Kryptonite's the only thing, and you can't use that the entire time, and magic of course. But I don't know. That's what I would say about it.
And I guess tricking him too, because he's so earnest, right? I think that's one of the things too. That's why Lex Luthor always gets the best of him, is always putting him in those situations.
But it's kind of like a Joker and Batman. It's like They kind of like they don't want to defeat each other, but they do want to defeat each other, because they don't really want the other person to die, because it's like their purpose. Their sole purpose is to be either the hero to their villain, or the villain to his hero. So I feel like that's what's interesting about Lex and his relationship.
Yeah, I think Superman's really good, like you said, because his resilience and his willingness to kind of protect everybody, right? Like, I think we've seen it in the new film. He's gonna save a squirrel, a dog. Obviously, we know historically he'll save a cat out of a tree, but for him to just protect all life forms, I think his dedication to justice, and obviously overshadowing kind of odds. But did you guys feel like he's a patriotic character? Because for me, I feel like he's even more patriotic than Captain America in a sense. Because
for sure.
Just because
really?
because I feel like he
I
embodies.
think he's more patriotic than Captain America.
Yeah, because especially in the symbolisms of the film.
The nigga's name is Captain America. Guys, I don't know about that one. He was literally doing tours for the
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, if he
like,
served in the military, I would for sure, like, that's 1 point for Cap. But,
but like what he was doing for the America, like everything was about America.
But that's what Superman to me represents. Like, he's out there, even like all the films.
He's not American.
No, he's not.
He seems like a fraud.
That's a point for Superman, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Because he could be anywhere.
Like,
right?
exactly. Like how when you go to America or Canada.
I mean, I guess.
No, but let me explain my point.
Okay, my fault.
He said, no, I can't be. Listen, I think that because, for example, like how Batman's like a vigilante and stuff, and, you know, he's obviously thinks he could act, you know, judge, juror, whatever. I think Superman really is about working alongside the government. Like he always tries to collaborate with them, knowing that he could, you know, overbody them, whatever. And in most of the live action films, or even some of the animation adaptations, he's always like involved in international politics in a sense. And I feel like he always like represents and reflects like the true American way, in that sense of like the patriotic form of always being like where I'm from, and having that pride of being from Kansas, and like his upbringing, and just having those values also like cross over from Clarke Kent, but also his identity as Superman. But like I said, I think he takes it upon himself like to just represent America. Like I don't know, it just comes across like the true American way. Like that's him, like the way he like holds himself accountable to certain things, and how he can never put himself above the government, like I said. So what would you say, Tanner? Like, how would you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like outside of like the serving for the military thing, like again, like the element of choice is the main theme here, in my opinion, where it's like he could, like there's a situation in space, there's the Fortress of Solitude, he could be anywhere at any time, you know what I mean? But he chooses to stay close to his roots, like obviously Metropolis and Kansas and things like that. Like there's that bit in the Man of Steel where like the general's all concerned that he's gonna go OP on everybody. He's like, I'm from Kansas, like I'm as American as you can get, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, he chooses America, and I think like in that sense, like he's super patriotic. Like I don't know if one kind of bests the other, but I mean I would kind of lean towards Supes in that regard because of choice.
I feel that. I feel like that's fair to say, especially because he gets to choose that. But I just feel like, you know, I mean, the only time it was ever questioned with Captain America was Civil War. Yeah. Civil War, I'm not even talking about movies, I'm talking about comic books, where he was just like, nah fam, like we should be able to like help everybody. Like, you know what I mean? And he's like, we should, and that was his only thing. He wasn't saying like, oh, I don't think the government. He's like, fam, we should just be able to help anybody whenever we want.
Yeah.
But he still, before those times, did special ops for America, tried to keep America safe, the world safe, everything like that. So I don't know. I feel like Captain America, one, with his name, and also with the fact that he like always brings up like the Queens or the Bronx. I mean, Bronx. I forget which one he's from, Bronx or Queens. Yeah. He always brings it up in conversations to show where he's from, and this what used to be, and this used to be, and blah blah. So I don't know. I feel like Captain America outweighs Superman in this one, but I can see what you're talking about though, because I can see that he could choose any other country to be from, or you know what I mean, just say I'm from Krypton, so like I'm gonna run the world and just do anything freely, like Hancock,
like Zod,
or something like that. You know what I mean, or like you know what I mean, just do whatever I want. Like I don't care what anybody says.
But he still chooses to like abide by, like I said, the laws, and for me, it's just like him leaning into the belief of humanity in a sense where he's just like, I don't know. I think there's so much darkness that happens in our world, especially, you know, we're grateful being from Canada, but in America they experience a lot of stuff too, and it's just like Superman just serves as like a super symbol of hope. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys both mentioned. So for me, I just feel like that's like the American way of like, there's tough times, but you can still make it out. Like there's a redemption story in everybody's character. Not saying that Captain America didn't experience that, but I just feel like Superman really like.
Oh, Captain America experienced that more than Superman for sure.
Yeah.
What redemption arc did he have? He was born into the world with literally his redemption arc was that he was adopted because he was sent. That was his redemption arc, but he didn't know that. He was a baby. I just mean like Captain America was actually a scrawny trash guy that couldn't do nothing, and then he actually what's it called? Said he wanted to volunteer to go do a test for American scientists to better himself for the American U.S. Army. He did that for the U.S. Army. He didn't do it for himself.
Yeah, but here's the thing though: is Captain America is very well compensated. Like Clarke Kent is still working a 9 to 5. He's like grassroots, like trying to live the American dream.
Trying to live the American dream.
When that is by no stretch of the imagination like needed. You know what I mean? Like he's Superman. He could like.
But what does Cap get? How did he get compensated?
By being an Avenger.
The government?
Yeah.
The government does, and that's my point. Like he works with the government so closely with the government.
But also I'm saying like just as a people too, like I don't know. I think you can't go. Honestly, I don't think either is wrong, and I think it's more so just as obviously like clip farming at this point. But because I'm not going to say Captain America is not patriotic, it's Captain America. I was just saying like when I thought about it recently, especially watching these films, I'm like he always serves as just like the turning point for people.
No, he's very patriotic,
especially if he's being done wrong in the public eye, like how much that sways. Like it's crazy how much of an impact he has on the community.
If you think I'll just go to jail and rot, you're living in a dream world. Good. Dreams save us. Dreams lift us up and transform us into something better. And on my soul, I swear that until my dream of a world where dignity, honor, and justice are the reality we all share, I'll never stop fighting. Ever.
It's not just the government, just like the people in general, I think. But I think those are great points, and it's definitely a great debate. And I think that it leads us into Act 1. But before we do that, let's take a quick time out. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more SceneDMs after this. We are back. SceneDMs issue 65, the one with the Man of Steel, and it's about to get interesting. We're about to do a deep dive into the different live action adaptations of Superman. There's been many. There's been quite a few. But before we get into those films, really quickly, Mount Rushmore of DC characters. If you had 4 of the top best DC characters to choose from, Tanner, who would they be? Merv, you're next.
Of superheroes? Superheroes, got you. Okay, Batman, Supes, Flash, and I guess I'll say Wonder Woman.
Oof. Merv?
I think I would have to go the same, but I'm more impartial to Flash, so that's why I think that, but I definitely have to go Superman, Batman, Flash, and Wonder Woman. Aquaman is a very close fifth, very close. I don't know who he's taking off that list though, but I'm more impartial to Flash. So
yeah, definitely going Batman, Superman. I think I'm gonna mix it up, man. I'm gonna go, not the Ryan Reynolds version, but I'm definitely gonna go with the Green Lantern. And then lastly, I'm gonna go with the Martian, man. I think his powers is OD. Not gonna lie, I was a fan of The Martian.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Like,
That's a
not
good
being
one.
man could transfer, you could shapeshift. Just don't be around no fire. Outside that, he's literally tough though. Mentalist, all that. But I think that's a great list. Mount Rushmore of DC characters. But man, let's get into it. So Superman 1 came out in 1978. It was directed by Richard Donner. It was budgeted at $55 million, which is a lot of money for back then, and it made 300 mil. And really simply, the premise is just before the destruction of the planet Krypton, scientist Jor-El sends his infant son Kal-El on a spaceship to Earth. Raised by the kindly farmers Jonathan and Martha Kent, young Clark discovers the source of his human powers and moves superhuman powers, and moves to the Metropolis to fight evil. As Superman, he battles the villainous Lex Luthor, who's obviously his infamous, bad guy and his pair. But while as a novice reporter, Clarke Kent, he has to, attempt to kind of woo his Lois Lane.
Lois Lane, say hello to Clarke Kent. Hold you one beat.
Lois Lane, how... Remember my dynamite expose on the sex and drug orgies in the senior citizens home? Remember the...
How you doing? Jimmy Olsen, photographer.
Oh, hi, Clarke Kent. Nice to meet you.
And I wanted to ask you guys if you had any, I know Merv watched it recently, I don't know when's the last time you've seen it, Tanner, but if you had an opinion on the first film, not the first film, but one of the, I guess, the first modern takes of Superman on the big screen.
You go first.
You say on the modern take of Superman?
Yeah, because there was like a 60s, or like a 50s, but I'm saying like a...
Oh, Christopher Reeves?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So since we didn't go that far back, because again, I'm not going past the 70s. But what was my take on it? On Superman 1, the first time I watched it, because remember we watched it last year, I believe it was, for the for 70s episode. Yeah. And I actually enjoyed it. I actually thought it was a pretty decently made. Obviously it wasn't my favorite, but I could see why. I was like, it's a very iconic movie. Like people say, like 70s Superman movie is very iconic. That's what I understood. I thought Christopher Reeves did a great job. I just didn't see him as Superman like that, to be honest with you. Maybe because I've seen different iterations of Superman. Yeah. I was just like, oh, like this is cool, but I didn't think of it as like the best Superman movie personally.
I like Christopher Reeve's performance because like his portrayal of Superman Clarke Kent, I think was both like a blend of strength, but also vulnerability, and he had a little charm to the role, and it made it kind of inspirational. But I definitely know what you mean, because we have so many different portrayals of him. It's hard for us to kind of say that that's the best one. But maybe back then, when our fathers were watching that as kids or whatever for the first time, they're like, yeah, that's it. But I think the film did a great job of kind of adapting the core elements to make Superman who he is from the comics, whether it's the origin story, which we have our guy Marlon Brando a part of, and he definitely mailed it in, and wasn't, we heard all the stories about the cue cards and the fact, even if you listen to his monologue, he says Krypton. He says my son from Krypton, not Krypton. So it's like bro wasn't even locked in like that to the script.
A little bit.
But because it's Marlon Brando, it's like, yo, Marlon Brando, like that's Superman's pops. Like he's out here giving monologues and stuff. I love it. But I think that outside of that, I really praise the film for the chemistry between Lois Lane and Clarke Kent, because that scene, especially on top of the rooftop of Lois Lane's apartment, where he gets consent to look at her panties and the color of it, and she asks him, I think was a cool flirtatious scene that really set the bar for me in terms of like how their relationship is and how she feels affectionate towards Superman, but then to Clarke Kent, it's like more of a working relationship and a friend zone type of situation. So I like that kind of cat and mouse dance that the film kind of juggles within the storyline of it. And I think for the time in that era, the special effects, particularly the flying scenes, were kind of revolutionary. But again, rewatching it in this day and age, you're like, yeah, it's tough. It's not it. But like I said, I can appreciate it for what it was. And then lastly, I would have to say that the balance of the humor in the film, because Lex Luthor does a great job of being a sense of wonder, but also a sense of adventure. And just having Lex Luthor and his henchmen, just that dichotomy and how they banter and react with each other, I think is reminiscent of the comic book animated shows that I love, and how he treats his henchmen. So I would say that's the positives of the films. But the second one, Superman 2, came out in 1980. So they made a film really quickly right after that because it was super successful, and it was budgeted at $54 million, but it made less money, $260 million. And it picks up right where Superman the movie left off, and three criminals, General Zod, Ursa, and Non, from the planet Krypton are released from the Phantom Zone, which they got captured in the first one, by a nuclear explosion in space, and they descend upon Earth where they can finally rule. So this is the kind of things that Tanner and I were speaking about or alluding to in the first intro part, is where Superman, if he really wanted to, could rule over Earth and be like, you guys are all my slaves, man.
Yeah.
You guys can't do anything about it. But instead, he wants to be amongst the people. Unlike Zod, he has different plans. So they descend upon Earth where they can finally rule. Superman, meanwhile, is in love with Lois Lane, who finds out who he really is, and Lex Luthor escapes from prison and is determined to destroy Superman by joining forces with the three criminals. And I think the reason why I like this film, Merv, is because similar to the James Gunn adaptation that came out last month, Lois Lane knows who Superman is. And as a fan of comics as I am, I love who my heroes' identities are known to either people they love or like the recent Spider-Man adaptation where it's like, you know, Mary Jane knows who he is, who knows that it's Peter Parker. I love that. I don't like when the superheroes are super hidden. So I think that was like a cool thing about it. But the ending definitely got me tight, man, because this is where I'm like confused, and it had me having to research what all can Superman do, because his capabilities are obviously like infinite.
It seems so.
Because at the end of the film, he kisses Lois Lane and she faints, which makes no sense because she's been kissing the man the whole movie. But she faints, and all of a sudden she forgets. She wakes up and forgets that Clarke Kent and Superman were the same people.
Same person.
And so essentially the last hour and a half of I watching the movie was just a slap in my face.
Yeah, pretty much.
And a dream sequence, in a sense. But how did you feel about number 2?
Trash.
Oh, wow.
Well, it wasn't trash. It wasn't trash. It was all right. Like, I was like, okay, like I could watch this, but like, let's finish it here. That's not going. I could see how we're edging towards something that I do not want to watch. Mm-hmm. So that's why I was like, yo, like, all right, number two solid, but let's just stop while we're ahead. We're really ahead right now. Let's just stop while we're ahead. Gene Hackman was still available. He was still a part of it. Mm-hmm. Let's just stop it here. But they decided to keep going.
You are Superman, aren't you?
Lois, look, we've been through these hallucinations of yours before. Can't you see what you almost did? Throwing yourself off a building 30 stories high. Can't you see what a tragic mistake you almost made?
I made a mistake. I made a mistake because I risked my life instead of yours.
Lois, don't be insane.
And don't fall down, because you're just gonna have to get up again.
No, Lois, now don't be crazy now. What?
I actually think Lex Luthor didn't have to be in this film because they had Zod.
Brother, he was in it for 2 seconds. But that's what I'm saying, bro. Like,
it's like, yeah. Ooh.
Why you have like multiple supervillains?
Yeah, because like it made him feel inferior in a sense because he was following around Zod after the prison and I can help you and being like a slimy like.
But that's what it showed because the ending like showed him like tricking them.
Yeah, but it's like
and he knew that. But it's like stupid.
It's like he's trying to help them. Like nah, fam.
The movie was stupid.
Because as much as Lex hates Superman, like in the comics from what I've read and growing up especially, is that his obsession with Superman is not like Superman himself. He just doesn't like aliens. He's like, yo, you guys think you guys can just come down here and disrespect the human achievements because he's a genius, right? So,
but
for
he also
him,
is more. So he also does it for the protection of the Earth.
No, for sure.
Earth,
But I'm saying, but it's not more so like I don't think people understand. It's not just like I hate Superman. Like it's like all like he doesn't he doesn't rate aliens. Like he's just like he thinks he could protect the Earth. He thinks he's one of them.
But he hates Superman the most out of all aliens.
So it's like, but I'm like, why would he want to help Zod? He's helping 3 aliens because he hates one. Like that to me just seems
that's
illogical.
Why I said like I think he hates Superman the most. Like he's just like
I said in the comics I read it and it said like it said he's not jealous of Superman. He's obsessed because of like the God versus nature. Like Batman versus Superman. Lex loves like man. He's just like, bro, no one should be God. Like and be superior, and if it is, it should be me. That's the type of thing he moves. But I understand how he's portrayed, like he hates Superman. But I'm telling you, like what I read in the comics, he hates all like extra terrestrial life. He just hates all the man. Like he's like, bro, I don't like y'all.
So in the second movie, he's hypocritical.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
But I feel like that's why comics are so interesting because this is like they change because he's worked with the aliens before and and been cool with them. It's just Superman he won't do that with. Only in desperation. He's done it with other aliens and even in like Justice League Unlimited and shit like that. He's worked with other people. In Young Justice he worked with aliens and shit like that. Like he doesn't care. I feel like he doesn't care about aliens unless they're like if they're not stronger than he is.
Yeah, they have to be.
Like stronger than he is or stronger than Superman. If they're stronger than Superman, then he's on Superman's side.
Yeah.
if they're not stronger than Superman, then he's just like, yo, I want to be on your side. We can team up, and we can use both of us. So that's how I portrayed it or saw it. But I know in different comics, bro, that's the thing about DC and comic books in general. They change the continuity like all the time.
Yeah.
One day they'll be like, yeah, Lex loves Superman. He doesn't really hate him, and then the next day he's like, nah, he hates his guts. So that's an interesting. That's why it's so interesting about that nigga. I don't know anything about him, Lex Luthor, to be honest.
All right, yeah, Superman 3. You want to talk about it real quick?
Not really, but I guess we have to. Movie's trash. The movie starts off with a bunch of people having like some like weird little like, I don't know how to explain it. Everybody just get goofy and everything starts spilling. People start dropping things and it just doesn't make any sense. That's the movie starts. So I already know it's gonna be some shit. I'll tell you that right already. Richard Pryor's in this movie, which I thought would be the highlight of this movie, but it was definitely not. And we follow Gus, who is this character's name, as he goes to unemployment office and he tries to ask them for some more unemployment money. And they're like, yo, fam, you've been unemployed for like 100 and some weeks. Like, fam, we can't help you. So essentially, he like tries to find a new job and he goes into computer science kind of thing, computer science, and he becomes a natural. He's like really, really good. And his story doesn't really, it kind of affects Superman, of course, but essentially he like hacks the system because he sees that there's taxes taken out of everybody's check, and he sees that they round up to like the next whatever, and he's just like, oh, like there's so much money missing from everybody's check, and he's just like, yeah, the company just like takes it and does like forgets about it. So he steals the money from the company and gets in trouble. And the CEO of the company, his name is Ross Webster, he actually goes and hires Richard Pryor's character and tells him, yo, like, I know you robbed from me, I know you robbed from my company, but instead of robbing from my company, how about you help me make more money? Because like the next generation is going to be about computers and supercomputers, and we need your help because you're very smart. In the meantime, Superman is trying his hardest to go on a trip to Smallville so he can go back to his high school reunion. And Lois Lane is in it for like 2 seconds, I guess. Like she just disappears out of the movie. Superman essentially goes back to Kansas, goes and meets up with his old like high school crush. She has a kid and like a boyfriend that's still in high school, and I don't know, they have like this little like flirtatious little thing, and honestly, the movie's all around the place. It doesn't make no sense. But essentially, what happens is Superman foils Ross Webster, the CEO. He foils his plans of like world domination of weather, because of the weather machine. And Superman foils all of it, and then so they get upset and they try to make like kryptonite to defeat him. But they don't know, like there's like 5% that's unknown or 10% unknown in the artifact. And so essentially what they do is they make up the 10% with tar. And what it actually does is it causes Superman not to be poisoned in a way where he's like weak. It poisons him where he turns into like a whole different human being. He starts drinking. I don't know how he can get drunk because his metabolism's so high, so that doesn't make any sense. Number one. Number two, he starts shooting peanuts off the bar while he's drinking in broad daylight, by the way, drinking in broad daylight like he's Hancock. And then while he's drunk and everything like that, he decides to like sleep with one of Lex Luthor's henchwomen. It's just like, yo, it's just, the story's so wild. Like, I don't know what's going on. And then essentially what the big bad is a supercomputer at the end of the movie that Richard Pryor asked Ross Webster's character to make for him so that he can control the world. And the supercomputer becomes alive and like starts turning people into like these metal, like walking supercomputers. And then Superman defeats it with acid, and that's the end of the movie. The movie's ass. So that's number 3. Any comments? Any comments?
I know that Lois Lane wasn't in it because Margot Kidder, who played Lois Lane, she basically had her role reduced, essentially because Richard Donner was fired. So he pretty much directed, I think, the first one, I think 75% of the second one, and then he was like completely fired off the third one. So I think in retaliation, similar to how some of the actors had James Gunn's back a couple of years ago when he came to Suicide Squad and all that, and his tweets that came out, and he got fired. I think that the similar thing happened, so that's why there was an absence of Lois Lane, and that chemistry or lack of chemistry was felt. I think without having Christopher Reeves have someone to bounce off of as Clarke Kent was definitely missed. And I think, like you said, one thing I realized after watching this film is that Superman is a super horny guy, like in terms of the fact that he can get anything he wants, bro. It's crazy. Like every girl fawns over him every time. Like it doesn't matter who it is, in the office, on the street, on road, like wherever he goes, a woman wants to be with him, and it's literally up to him to be like, I don't want to be with you or not. But in this film, he kind of like, I guess, subverts to doing that.
Nah, he only does it because he's poisoned. By the fake.
So he's toxic
Superman,
Superman, and he actually leans into it. But that's one thing I realized about this film is like all the, even in other films, every girl that like crosses paths with him is like, oh my god, I want to be with this guy. Please pick me up again and fly me around. Like, bro, it's crazy.
The worst part, I forgot to even bring this up. I mean, Dwayne said it was revolutionary possibly for the time, is when Superman actually fights Superman.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, Superman fights Clarke Kent.
Yes.
And they get into a whole big fight, and
logistically it makes no sense.
And the girl and the junkyard.
Hey, please, come on, chicken! Let me get you. Get on my nerves for a long time. Gotta get it! You always wanted to fly, Kent. Now's your chance.
Logistically, it makes no sense.
Because Clark leaves his body and then fights himself. And I guess they were trying to show the internal battle of Clark and Superman. But like,
I assume that's what it was.
But the way it happened is like, it could have been done better.
Even when the girl's like, yo, we slept together at the end, he's just like, that wasn't me.
That wasn't me.
I was like, that doesn't hold up, brother. That was actually you. You just because you were in a different headspace doesn't mean it changes anything. Okay, that was actually
so
you.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, like, nah, what are you talking about?
It was definitely different.
The movie was shot.
And I also think, like you said, the movie attempted to blend superhero action with slapstick comedy. And that was something that hasn't been done before outside of obviously the campy Batman.
Yeah.
And I think that Richard Pryor's character as Gus Gorman just didn't work. And it created an inconsistent tone with the superhero kind of genre. And one thing we know about having a super successful superhero film is that the tone has to be complete. Whether it's the cynical tone like Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, or whether it's the bright and more, colorful and cheerful tone of James Gunn's Superman. It could work in either direction. It just has to be something that some director will commit to, and I think that in this film they didn't know what they were trying to accomplish with that one. But lastly, let's talk about Superman 4.
So Superman 4, A Quest for Peace, came out in 1987. I wish they would have just gave it up, but they never did. So this one came out, and it is essentially, I'll tell you a quick rundown. Essentially what happened was Lex Luthor, Gene Hackman, is back in the movie, but essentially what happens is Christopher Reeves, Superman, he is obviously taking care of the things in the world, but there's like this nuclear holocaust that might be going on, nuclear war, right? And so this random kid from this random place just writes a letter to the Daily Planet saying like, you guys know Superman, could you get this in contact with Superman? Clark reads it and then is like astonished, and nobody is like, wait, why are you so heartfelt about this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not Superman, why do you feel some type of way about this? But nobody did, obviously. But essentially the note says, Superman, the nuclear war is going on, like, can you like do something about it, fix it? Can you just take away all nuclear devices? And Superman then, because he's stressed, reveals himself to Lois Lane again, randomly. And then and what happens actually at the beginning of this movie is that Daily Planet gets bought by this rich company, and they want them to spread misinformation all the time because they think that chaos causes problems. So the reason that the kid's even letter was published was because they wanted to publish it so the world could see if Superman was going to answer. And then so Superman finally answered, but he first talked to Lois. He took her up in the air. She knew it was Superman. She's like, I remember everything. And then he kissed her again, and then she forgot everything. And I'm like, fam, like, how does this work? I don't know. I've never heard this power before in my life, so I don't know.
If this Lois Lane mind wiping thing is like canon to Superman's history, I don't know.
Yeah,
at this point, her brain should be mush at this point. The amount of times that she got Men in Blacked.
Yeah, exactly. She got Men in Black like 20 times already. I don't get it. Like the man's just like, yo, the man can snake her. The man can tell her any deep dark secret and just kiss her. Be like, all right, breeze. Like we're done. Yeah, like fam, like what? But anyway, so then he goes and like pretty much takes all the nuclear devices from every single country in the world, and puts it into like this big like net, and then like takes it and swings it into the sun. Which I thought that would be a problem personally. I thought that you threw a bunch of nuclear devices, like there was like thousands of them, into the sun. It might do something to it, but hey, that's just me though. Anyways, so then Lex Luthor gets this idea like, yo, I actually want to create something. So he gets Superman's hair, and first of all, Superman's hair is being held up by 1,000 pounds, right? But somehow Lex Luthor is able to cut his hair with just a couple of barbed wire, like a little scissors. And I'm like, yo, fam, his hair must be. I'm not gonna dive into that. It's pointless. Semantics of the movie, clearly. But anyways, Lex Luthor does that and then mixes in some DNA and does this whole thing, and he ends up putting it into the nuclear device that he sends to Superman, so Superman can send it into the sun, and with the sun's power, it actually creates. What's the man's name again?
Basically, Nuclear Man.
Is it Nuclear Man? Yeah, Nuclear Man. Yes, Nuclear Man. And he comes back and he's powered by the sun, so he can't move unless he is energized by the sun. So if you know anything about Superman, you should see how this is clearly evolving into something, and I know you do. So anyway, Superman ends up finding Nuclear Man around the world and in space too, on the moon. But at one particular time, he actually knocks over some of the walls of the Great Wall of China. Again, maybe I don't know Superman, but what he does is he laser beams and reverses time or something, or as telekinesis, and puts all the rocks back into place on the Great Wall of China. I've never seen Superman do this before in my life. Never. I didn't know he had telekinesis. But he's able to do it for some reason. So anyways, he gets in a fight with Nuclear Man. He pretty much loses because Nuclear Man scratches him. He gets like really, really sick. But Nuclear Man is powered by the suns. That's the problem that I had with this movie, is that he's powered by the sun. Superman is also powered by the sun. So if you use your powers that you're powered by the sun with against me, wouldn't that just energize me to actually beat you up? That's what I thought. So anyways, he ends up defeating him by putting him in some cold area. No, he puts him into, what is it called? The factory, the silos, and puts him in a dark thing, and then he's just there forever. I don't know. It's just, the movie sucks.
Then I came up with it. With this guy, and you gone, I'm gonna make a fortune rearming the world.
You'd risk worldwide nuclear war for your own personal financial gain.
Nobody wants war. I just want to keep the threat alive. Nifty, huh?
Any comments, bro?
The film's budget was significantly cut, and that's why we see it noticeably decline the quality of the special effects because of the budget cut being more than half of the film. But also, I think that the biggest fail of this film was that Clarke Kent agreed to a double date with Superman, Lois Lane, and
gosh, that was a stupid
Peggy and Clark. I'm like, in what universe did he think he could pull that off?
Well, he did, but they're like dumb. They're like dumb. They're like, Clark said, I need $20 to go tip the driver.
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
Superman on the roof goes, eats a pancake, leaves. He's like, oh, Lois, I'll be back. I'm like, yo, how do you guys, like, at this point we know Clark is Superman.
Oh, is there something burning in the kitchen? Yeah, you should go check on that. I'll be right back.
Oh, the elevator got stuck? Oh, I'll take the stairs.
Like, bro, come on.
Like, all right, bro. Anyways, that's that on that. So let's take a quick media timeout before we come back for Act 2. What's going on? SceneDMs, issue 65, done with the Man of Steel. And we've been speaking about Superman. We talked about the Christopher Reeves era, but we're going to advance to the next one. But before we do that, really quickly, Tanner, what are your Mount Rushmore DC supervillains?
I got to go Reverse Flash 1.
Oh, he's a crazy hater. Oh yeah, he's a hater.
What do you mean?
No. I think like he's a great. He's a great villain. He's just a hater.
Okay.
He hates the Flash. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
He will live at nothing but to ruin his life.
The man said I went back in time and tripped you and pushed you down the stairs.
Man,
You know
Reverse Flash. You gotta go. I guess you gotta go Joker. Then, I love Deathstroke.
Oh yes, I was gonna say.
Like in terms of like combative equivalent to Batman, unreal. And then fourth, I'd probably say Lex. Wait, did I say Lex already?
No.
Okay, Lex 4.
That's a good group. Mario, what about you?
I have to go Vandal Savage. Reverse Flash is definitely in there. Dark Side. I mean, these are kind of. I mean, Dark Side's obviously kind of obvious, but and the last one, I'll definitely have to go Joker.
Nice.
Go Joker.
My Mount Rushmore of DC supervillains: Joker, Mr. Freeze, Deathstroke, and I'll go Ra's al Ghul.
So all Batman's rogue gallery. All right, bet. All Batman's rogue gallery. That's what the man just said. Just say Batman's rogue gallery. Just call it a day, bro.
Yeah, it really was. All right, let's dive into the next film. Superman Returns. Superman Returns came out in 2006, and apparently it was supposed to be a canonical sequel to Superman 2. So similar to 28 years later, where it's like we don't even acknowledge that film that came out before us. This film said breeze Superman 3 and 4. We're just continuing from Superman 2. So essentially he leaves for 5 years and then comes back, which again is illogical to me, because if Clarke Kent took a hiatus for 5 years,
and then he just came back, and then Superman also came back.
Hiatus for 5 years, and they both come back, I'd be like, yo, wait. So
where were you again?
Exactly. But I don't even want to say too much about this premise, because for me, this film was like nostalgic porn, in the sense where Bryan Singer, who was directing this film, who his X-Men's during this same time period were being produced by Richard Donner's wife. So that's why he got chosen to direct this film, politics. And I think that because he admired Richard Donner so much, that this rendition of Superman like did too much in terms of paying homage to it. Like the scene where he runs into the tunnel with Lois, or like the scene where he opens his, like there was just two, you know how we love callbacks and Easter eggs? It was like how I watched Happy Gilmore 2 recently. I'm like, this is too much. It was the same thing where it's like you're running back the same, where it's like you're obsessed with Richard Donner, and I like you want to pay homage, but you have to somehow create your own lane at the same time. It's like it's like you were ashamed to kind of embrace what type of interpretation of Superman that you had.
It's like you're afraid. You're afraid, yeah.
Whereas a Zack Snyder or a James Gunn is like, no, I'm gonna go with this version, and whoever rocks with it, but this is my understanding of the character. Yeah. So I think that I didn't really like it because of that. I thought that it was unambitious in terms of like the chemistry between the Lois and Lane and Superman character. Kate Bosworth I thought wasn't the best Lois Lane because she was super young. And then Lex Luthor, like being Kevin Spacey, I thought was kind of weird in the sense of like he was using an accent, and I don't know, it was just weird. Like I think of Lex Luthor as like a genius, but I don't think of him as like slimy or weird. And when people play him weird, I'm just like, actually he's a pretty like cool, calm, and collective guy. Like he's actually like a cool man, like, you know what I mean? So I don't know, but that film, you have any thoughts about Superman Returns?
I would have just preferred for Kevin Spacey, right?
Yeah,
I would have preferred Kevin Spacey just to be Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor. So like I think, like him, he's almost like that Vince Vaughn type guy. Like he could just been the same guy in every movie, and it would have been just fine.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of like how he goes about attacking Superman, like growing the landmass with the kryptonite, like that was unique. Like that was a different spin on it for sure. Like Superman being able to like lift a whole landmass, like okay, that's a little different too. You know what I mean? Like you got like Superman's like kid in the mix, like that's a different spin on it. You know, so like there's certain elements of it that were like kind of unique, but overall, like it didn't do it for me.
Yeah, and it had James Martin being a cuck the whole movie.
Like he knew his thing. He knew, bro. He knew Superman was. He's like, I want to talk to you about your article. Which one? Your night with Superman. Oh, nothing happened. Nothing happened. So you spent the night with him, though? No,
just for work.
It was for work. Your uncle set it up. Your uncle said we have to get snatched. Nah, but I thought the son thing was kind of annoying though, because it was like, fam, if you're not gonna do nothing with it, don't.
That was why I was
like, if you're not gonna do nothing with it, please don't. Like, and then at the end where he just like goes and like talks to him and like we don't really discuss, like, she doesn't really say anything about him. Like, how does he, you know what? This is a bunch of questions, but whatever. I didn't think it was bad, but I just thought that it was just like certain parts are unnecessary. It didn't need to be 2.5 hours. I'll tell you that much.
Definitely not. Definitely not. All right, let's get into the classic Superman film. I think we can all agree that this is among the top for us if we had to rank them. But Man of Steel came out in 2013, budgeted at $225 million, made $670 million. It was produced by Christopher Nolan, so it's only right that it would be what it was. But what was y'all opinion on Man of Steel? I know you have it highly regarded. I have some points that may combat what you say, but I like playing devil's advocate sometimes, and it's not because I don't love the film, because I actually do really like the film. But there are some, you know, I don't think it's a perfect film, is what I'll say. So I'm curious to hear like why you love this film so much.
I just think I think the 10-minute clip of him interacting with his father for the first time, him getting the rundown as to who he is, what his history is about, what the values of his family is, and what he needs to do as a beacon of hope to these people, what the intention of Jor-El and obviously his mom was for them to strip him off from kryptonite was fantastic. I think the first flight scene was fantastic. There's they'll race behind you, they'll stumble, you'll fall, but eventually they'll join you to the right. So it's like kind of run your own race kind of thing. Like, you are the standard, be the standard, right? I think that kind of, in a nutshell, really personifies Superman's essence in a way. I think that's done really well. General Zod was goated in this movie.
I mean, Michael Shannon's a great actor, so I think he did a great job with General Zod for sure.
Yeah, goated in this movie. Like talking about his purpose, how he took that away from him figuring out his powers, as soon as he adapts to the atmosphere kind of thing. You grew up on a farm? Fire scene. I love this movie. It was also pretty long. There's components to it that were obviously are fair to be critiqued. I think it was almost like the fallacy of the movie that it came right after the Batman trilogy. So it's okay, that was so successful. Let's do the darker stuff. Let's do a darker take of somebody who's that's not what Superman is. Exactly. So it's almost that's why
my biggest thing was, but Merv said sometimes it's good to have an alternate take or a different visual aesthetic on certain stories, because we were used to seeing the same thing over and over again, right? So I appreciated it for that sense, but then it's kind of contradicting to the whole Superman character of being a symbol of optimism, where it's everything is so dark and cynical, and it's I don't know, but at the same time I do love the performance from Henry Cavill. I think he's probably the most fit to play Superman in the sense of embodying what he did. Him with the beard and everything was kind of cool, seeing Clark in that element, and I think it did a great job of establishing the internal struggles of Superman and how he becomes Superman, and then Clarke Kent, and then establishing his history with his human parents but also with his Kryptonian parents. And I think that Russell Crowe went in there thinking this was Gladiator 2, and he was this is my film actually. And they're like, Russell, we need you for 10 seconds. And he was like, no, let me show you.
The people of Earth are different from us, it's true. But ultimately, I believe that's a good thing. They won't necessarily make the same mistakes we did. Not if you guide them, Cal. Not if you give them hope. That's what this symbol means. The symbol of the House of El means hope. Embodied within that hope is the fundamental belief in the potential of every person to be a force for good.
I also think that Kevin Costner did a great job too, even though I do not understand the scene where he just willingly sacrificed himself and said, "It's okay." A tornado.
Nah, fam, I was rewatching it yesterday with Tay, and when they the part where he said, "Yo, but all those kids were gonna die. Should I just let them die?"
Yeah,
and he said, "Maybe." I said, "Oh no, this guy's sick."
But what do you mean? What do you mean about the tornado scene? It's simple. He's X amount of distance away. Everybody's under the underpass, and Henry's gonna go save him. Yeah. Obviously, that's what he wants to do. It's his father.
And he was like,
and he goes, "No, because you'll expose yourself."
He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. What's the thing you have us do? The Spider-Man walk? Something, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. You could have acted like you were.
No, he had to expose himself in order to do that. Henry Cavill couldn't go kissing everybody, so they forget the event afterwards. There's no
Let's go around the room. Go around the room.
Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point. I think Kevin Costner did a really great job of his father, man. I thought some of even the scene where you saw him again at the top, when he climbed the mountains, Clarke Kent, and then he saw his father, and then he kind of like gave him that advice and everything. I thought that was pretty dope. So I think it was a very earnest film for sure. I just think the darker tone was different. I will say too, not saying that the two actors that played Lois and Clark weren't good, but I think there was still like a lack of chemistry again there. I think the Corn Sweat and Rachel Brosnan, that's like the most excitement we've seen between Lois and Clark since Christopher Reeves and Margot Kidder in the first one. And sometimes again I miss that like spark between them two romantically, because I think that really makes Superman relatable in the sense where it's like, nah, he's bumbly and stumbly when it comes to the person he cares about and is in love with. You know what I'm saying?
You didn't think he was good with Amy Adams?
No, I said no, they were good, but I'm saying because the film was so dark, I didn't get that like spark because
I think they tried to add it in, and it was like annoying. Like, I got annoyed when he like went in the tub with her with his clothes on. That cheesed me.
Yeah,
like it didn't like
even though
romantic. It didn't get me romantic.
Yeah, it wasn't romantic.
Like, you gotta clean that up.
Overspilling, people who live below you. Jeez, my apartment's flooded.
You gotta do it again. I'll be cheesed. I'm like, yo, what's wrong with these guys, man?
Exactly, Bob. Let's go. All right, so let's go to the next one, man. Batman vs Superman. Dawn of Justice came out in 2016.
Batman vs Superman. Quick rundown, man. Batman and Superman just fight each other. I don't know what else to tell you, but they it was orchestrated by Lex Luthor, who is played by Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh, I hated that book. Sorry, I had to start we'll
and pretty much he sets it up where he makes Superman look like this god that has to be defeated, but then to Superman he makes Batman look like this vigilante that doesn't follow the law, doesn't care about anybody's opinion. He just wants to do what he wants to do, kind of thing. So they kind of just butt heads simply because of that. Like, you know what I mean? They're tricked into believing a narrative that like is pushed onto them by other people that, you know what I mean, they have no control over. And I thought it was, I personally loved the movie. People hate it. I don't know why, but I actually loved the movie. I thought it was a pretty good fight thing. The only thing I hated about it was the whole Martha shit. That Martha shit.
The ending was horrible.
The Martha shit ruined the entire movie.
Discredits the whole movie.
Yeah, it ruins it because at the same time, it's like, I get it, but like, nah, that's a miss.
You keep saying that. like, yo, why does he keep, because your mom is in trouble. Oh, nigga, why didn't you say that in the first place? But Batman was on 100 as soon as he came through, so that's why I was like, I understand.
That's what I'm saying, bro. The man was on a mission of vengeance, and out of nowhere, just because he said his mom's name and it was the same, he just stops. Like, nah, I know my man's Batman, bro. I studied this guy.
He was getting cheat. No, I think Batman was getting cheats because he's like, yo, what you do my mom? It
just came across.
How you know my mom?
It came across as like awkward and forced, bro. I don't know. It just like it wasn't it. But like you said, I still think there was good parts about the movie, but the story, some of the stuff just didn't add up to me. It just didn't make sense.
Don't you like that tension in the room where they're both at the gala and they're talking shit about each other?
The gala was good.
And Jesse Eisenberg knows who each other are.
The gala was
like,
good.
He plays into it, and then he's just like, he's like, strong handshake there. You got a real strong handshake.
The gala was good because I think that I do enjoy the Henry Cavill and Bruce Wayne scenes, but more specifically, I like it because I think that Ben Affleck was one of the better Batmans that we've ever had.
Yeah, facts.
Personally, especially just the way he embraced being the older version of Batman, and I think no one's better than carrying their real life baggage into films, and so for him to kind of play and perform the way he did for Batman, like kind of like insecure in a sense, but like a guy that still is capable of doing a lot of things and is looked at as a certain way, but again is very vulnerable in a sense.
Yeah,
I think that Ben Affleck was perfect for that character. But what do you think about the film?
Mr. Wayne. Clarke Kent, Daily Planet.
Oh, my foundation has already issued a statement in support of books.
Sir?
Well, pretty girl, bad habit. Don't quote me, all right?
What's your position on the Bat Vigilante in Gotham?
Daily Planet. Wait, do I own this one? Or is that the other guy?
Civil liberties are being trampled on in your city. Good people living in fear.
Don't believe everything you hear, son.
I've seen it, Mr. Wayne. He thinks he's above the law.
I agree with you guys. Like, I actually really like the film outside of the Martha scene, because like in a lot of ways, a lot of people assume Superman's greatest threat is Lex Luthor if we're talking about what's happening on Earth, but in my opinion, it's actually Batman.
Yeah.
Like in my opinion, like Batman allows for Superman to be Superman, This movie was like him drawing a line in the sand. Like, I need to show you that I'm capable of stopping you. capable of like preventing you from doing your thing if you go off the rails, kind of thing. Like it's some kind of way of him like regulating Superman in a way.
It's like two alphas, like, you know what I mean, in the wild, they're like trying to make sure you know this is my ends.
And they did a great job of showing their dominance in both aspects. Like, especially with Batman, we always talk about having prep time. And that one scene with the dumpsters, and he had the guns, and he kind of backed up, and Superman kept following him. Low-key, Superman was trying to like de-escalate the situation. Like, yo, I'm trying to talk to you. Batman's like, nah, I'm not hearing that no more, fam.
That's what I said. He's
but then Superman was like, okay, fam, punch me. I don't even feel that. He's hit him one time, he goes flying, but then the kryptonite comes out. It's like, that was a cool scene, seeing them like trying to one up each other.
Yeah.
It's like,
but
breathe it in.
He's like, breathe it in. He stopped the bullet. Nah, it's funny. Do you bleed? You will. Like, I think Batman was goated in that scene, but at the same time, I think that for a scene that's Batman versus Superman, or a movie that's about Batman versus Superman, I think the fighting scene was too short, like, in my opinion. I think we didn't get enough. But I do think that Zack Snyder does know how Batman fights. That's one of the best fight choreographies I've seen of Batman. Like, if I was to see them actually fight physically.
Bro, when he came out of the floor.
Oh my god, that shit was fire.
When Batman came out of the floor and all the henchmen, and they're going to say it, like, man, oh my god.
Insane.
I needed more of that.
No, I felt like that part was a real fight. Like, I felt like that was actually Batman. Like, I didn't feel like he was doing anything that was like, oh my god, this nigga has superpowers. I felt like he was like, even the grappling and stuff like that, when he grappled and through the box of the guy, I was like, oh, like, he's not saying like, oh, I'm strong enough to do that. He's just saying like, yo, I'm doing it with gadgets. And I even got like 2-piece one per time and stuff like that. Like, I felt like it was just real. I felt like that scene specifically was real.
I felt like if Zack Snyder was trying to get across like, this is the seasoned Batman, the one that's a little bit more cynical, he wants to do it the dirty way or whatever. He's huge. He's like squatting 500 pounds.
Oh, yeah,
he's like, the workout scene, he's pulling like 4 plates on the chin up. No, he was solid. Like, guy was solid, absolutely solid. I'm just like, man, this guy's a unit right now. Ben Affleck's like what, like 6'4", like 250, like. Yeah.
That's all right. Really quick, I want to talk about Lex, man. I let's have a healthy debate. I think that from my perspective, I think Lex, like I said, he the way Jesse Eisenberg played him is like manic, which I thought was a different take, but it's not canon, which again, you could have like your own thoughts about it.
Yeah.
But when I think of Lex, I think of like a calculated, composed, like charismatic kind of genius, and a mischievous like billionaire. And he kind of just felt like when he put the candy in bro's mouth, like we talked about the thing, or when he kind of had that one speech, or like just the way he was kind of being so performative. I feel like when I watched the comics or a certain thing, like even when we did the the animated films, DC, and like some of the way Lex was acting in that, he was like way more like suave, like cool, calm, collective.
It was also the voice actor that made him seem that way too.
But
like, I felt like his voice was very calm, like he barely yelled.
His mannerisms, I felt like Jesse like made like some different decisions, and I think it was just like more quirky. And like I said, like it's all about how I guess you view the character. Yeah. But when I think of Lex, I think of like a villainous Steve Jobs, like a god complex in a sense. I don't think of like a neurotic person who's like socially awkward or weird. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why I didn't really like Jesse. And then even when I look at the comics, Lex was introduced one time with like short hair, but after that he's been bald predominantly in everything. So it was difficult for me to see Lex in that character with that stature, that build, because along with performances, the reason why I love like a Christian Bale, or I love like a certain actor, is because they're able to emulate the character physically, not just emotionally and performative wise. So I think that's why that held the movie back for me personally. It was like, man, every time he came on screen, it pissed me off, bro. Like, if you cut out his scenes, I love the film. Like,
he came off as just annoying. Yeah. At the end of the day, like really small stature, to your point. Secondary to that, like the scene where he's like doing a speech or whatever, and he's like, it's paradoxical. Like, I'm like, it's weird. It's just, I always, like, again, to your point, like I always pictured Lex Luthor as like things that are happening like mischievously are happening in the background. Yeah. Like he's very suave, he's composed, he's calculated, he's just like, this one's kind of erratic and weird, you know?
No, I definitely feel that. I feel that on, but I like I told you guys, like I feel like sometimes playing a character a different way is an interesting way about it. Like maybe at that time, because you know the ones that we see in it animated, obviously he's like suave and he's short hair and everything like that. Like maybe he needed to go through that manic state and then to calm his ass down and then to come back and just like be villainous just like that, but just in a slower state. Maybe it was like early days, you know what I mean? Like it was real early days of that beef between each other. I don't know, because it was really right after Man of Steel, so Superman just showed up, like, so so Lex wasn't really like on his Lex shit like that yet, you know what I mean?
For
like,
sure, but it definitely drifted away from the canon, I think, which is what we admired by, because even in Man of Steel, him snapping Zod's neck, Superman, Zack Snyder making that conscious decision is very brave, a creative, brave choice, but a lot of people had issues with that, because like, you know what? Similar to me as a big Batman fan, I actually had an issue in Batman vs Superman of allowing Bruce Wayne to use guns, and he's killing mans with guns, because he doesn't do that in the comics like that. You know what I'm saying? So even those scenes where he's like blicking mans, I'm like, I guess that's cool to imagine him in a world like using rifles and killing guys, but at the same time, it's like that's not the Batman.
Well, he didn't really kill him. He just destabilized him.
Well, yeah, I guess he's shooting up bare mans and limbs. Yeah, you're right. Maybe they're
I thought he was more of his pops, to be honest with you. In Flashpoint, that's what I felt like. I felt like he started going to his Thomas Wayne bag. But I think that honestly was because of Dark Knight. Dark Knight kind of gave that Joker, that villain, and everybody felt like any genius villain that they had to play it like Joker. In that sense. So that's why I think Eisenberg got his. But that's my point. I feel like Joker and Thing are two different people. Yeah, completely different.
For sure. Because like even in the comic book Action Comics, which is the number 544 version that came out in 1983, and Luthor Unleashed, like it says the comic is key at showing Lex's obsession with superiority, and after losing Superman again, he creates a new power suit and vows to destroy Superman, not out of insanity, but out of the ideological vengeance. And then it says that he's very clear-minded and he's not goofy or unstable. So that's why I'm like, again, I'm like, there was and then Superman Birthright 2003 and 2004, and then All-Star Superman, which is, we love that comic book movie, but also the comic book itself has him as like a little bit more chill. But again, I think the different rendition is cool. Jesse, I saw some research, he was like, that's the role that like almost killed his career. He said Now You See Me kind of brought him out of that, but he said like he was like hated for doing that, and he even felt like he did a disservice to the film, which is tough to say because that's how you feel sometimes when the film doesn't perform as well. But what did you guys think about Justice League?
Well, quick rundown of Justice League. Myself, I Zack Snyder's version is obviously way better in my opinion.
Was it like 30 minutes longer or something, or how much longer?
You said 30 minutes longer, brother. That movie is 4.5 hours long. This man said 30 minutes long.
I'm thinking about the ultimate cut for Batman vs Superman. He has bare extended.
No. That movie's 4 hours long still. No. It's OD. You have to like set out like half of your day to watch it. But the Joss Whedon one was trash. I feel like Superman was given a disservice. In that one for sure. In Zack Snyder, I felt like the black suit was OD that he brought out in Zack Snyder's Justice League. When he brought out the black suit, went up into the sun because he obviously got killed and then he came back to life. He went up into the sun, got all the sun, and then went and then just defeated Steppenwolf, and then Darkseid tried to come through. So I don't want to take too much time on that because it wasn't a Superman movie, but he did have an appearance in it. But I feel like the Zack Snyder did him justice, but I don't feel like the Joss Whedon one did. What about you, Ty?
I did not like the Joss Whedon one. I
that
didn't
was
like
one
that.
of the worst movies I've seen in my life.
I didn't like that Steppenwolf was the main guy. Like the mother box is cool. Like there was like some cheeky stuff in there where like Flash is trying to fight like Superman, who's like all in the daze and whatnot, and like Superman like turns his head. I'm like, cool. You see like your first glimpse of like the Speed Force, which I'm like, okay, as fans, you want to see that. But like the plot didn't do it for me. Like I find Zack Snyder's was way better. I'm glad that they included Darkseid in it, just as like an introductory piece. I don't know. There was a lot of things that was weird about this movie, like going back to like the Batman versus Superman thing, like the whole Martha thing. Like it's like the Flash going back in time and telling Bruce Wayne, it's like Martha's the key, or sorry, Lois is the key. Like, but they didn't really establish that relationship where it's like that, where it's like, okay, you're telling me like everything apocalypse-wise is gonna happen because Lois dies, and then Man of Steel goes into like dark mode or whatever, like the anti-life equation and all that. You know, like I don't know. I think because that framework or that foundational relationship with Lois and Clark, like to your point, Dwayne, like wasn't established. It just didn't like really deliver on the back end with Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, exactly. Because the payoff wasn't as much. I wasn't as invested into the relationship like that, like I am in the other films. But I think you guys both made great points. I think Justice League was just, I don't know. I think the biggest thing I could take away from this era of Zack Snyder and Superman is that it is a tragedy that we didn't get a sequel to Man of Steel, and I would have loved to see what Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder would have cooked up for a Man of Steel instead of him being forced or pushed into doing a Justice League or a Batman vs Superman right away. I think we still needed another sequel, and I just think it's unfortunate now that Henry Cavill's older, and he might even be too old to play the next James Bond now. So now he can't even be Superman or James Bond, but he's a great actor, and we see him in a lot of stuff. So continue to see him in some good movies. I know, Tanner, you like the Warfare?
Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Yeah, Warfare. That was a great movie. So we're going to be excited to see Henry Cavill and what he does in the future. But we have one more act. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with this. What's going on? Act 3, SceneDMs, issue 65, the one with the Man of Steel. And we are finally here. The last act has been a fun episode, diving into all things Superman. Really quickly, let's get into it, man. Out of all of the live action films, or the animated films, or the TV shows, what do you think is the best version of Superman that kind of captures it? I know you mentioned Smallville. I know that's a big one. I heard you and Merv talking about that when I walked in here. What is the best, portrayal of Superman on the big screen, whether it's TV, movie, or animated?
I still got to go Henry Cavill, Man of Steel. Then I'll probably go Smallville 2. And then 3, I do like the new guy. Yeah. The new guy's good. He's solid. Yeah.
What about you, Merv?
If you're talking about TV shows too, I definitely got to go Smallville for sure. Loved, obviously, Man of Steel. Loved Man of Steel, of course. Christopher Reeves for nostalgic value, but really and truly, I don't really know. I like, what's his name? The guy, the guy in Superman and Lois? Yeah. I forget his name. That's my dog, though, from Teen Wolf. Look it up, but my computer's not turned on. But yeah, him from Superman and Lois.
I think I like the animated film. Was it the Doomsday? What's one of the best ones? I like that one with Superman, but I also like him in the Justice League actual TV show.
Yeah.
I think that Superman is really cool in that one. And then Super Sons, one of my favorite animated movies with Batman and Superman. I think it portrays Clark as like a father in a cool way. But let's get into it, man. Let's do a quick dive into the newest film, and it's Superman. Came out a couple months ago, 2025. James Gunn directed it. We know he's heading up the new DCEU, Extended Universe, and it was budgeted at 225 million, and it made 559 million so far, which is crazy because we're not even halfway through the year or whatever the case may be is, but it's definitely probably going to touch $1 billion. Hopefully it does, because that's a good thing for superhero movies. But it stars David Cornsweet, Rachel Brosnan, and Nicholas Hoult, who's been having a great year and a half. I loved him in Juror Number 2. He was in Nosferatu. He's in a whole bunch of films, man. He's doing his thing. Yeah, The Menu, exactly. But you recently saw the film. Merv and I saw it, twice? We saw it with the team when we went to Montreal, was it? We saw it on the road with the whole squad.
Yeah.
We saw it again. What was your thoughts of the film? Because for me, leaving the theaters, first reaction was, this is what I go to the movies for. Like, I felt like I was flying with Superman. When the kaiju showed up, I was like, man, these graphics are incredible. The storytelling aspect was cool. And as a guy who's invested into superhero comic book films, I thought it was great to just drop us into Superman's world right away instead of having us redo the origin story. I already love the origin story from Man of Steel, showing the world of Krypton. I think Zack Snyder did a great job of that, and also Christopher Reeves one with Marlon Brando. So having this version just drop us into Superman right away, I think it's very rare for us to have all three actors hit in terms of Lois, Lex, and Superman. But in this film, I think we went 3 for 3 personally, in terms of the motivations behind all the characters, the relationships, and understand the tone of the film. It was silly in a sense. You had Superman saying, "Oh boy," you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we were grounded because I think James Gunn did a great job of building the world of Metropolis. It looked like Cleveland. It looked like a certain part of New York. It looked like a certain part of Toronto. Like I really messed with it. It felt cool, and I think James Gunn is a master at incorporating other characters that we may not care about. Like Mr. Terrific, I mentioned to Merv before. I didn't really know much about him. Didn't really care for him. In this film now, I'm like, man, he's one of my favorite characters. Now I'm interested to see what else he does in other adaptations. Hot Girl, never thought I'd see her in a movie in this kind of rendition. So I think the movie was fun. It wasn't perfect. I think there were some sloppy parts, but I thought David Cornsmith did a great job as Superman. I thought the action was good. The soundtrack was impeccable. The theme song lives within my head, and I thought that it looked visually outstanding. It was bright, colorful, and it was just a beautiful take on Superman.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like, I think if you're talking about like what you're trying to get out of a Superman film, you think light, hopeful, fun, playful, right? While still establishing depth of conflict, depth of character. Right. This one delivered on all of them. Like, if you talk about like Lex Luthor, like you talked about his intellect coming across. You talk about why he's driven to do things he does, why he has such a hatred towards Superman. He did an outstanding job. Mm-hmm. All the casting was fantastic. All the characters, to your point, were amazing. Like, you're Mr. Terrific. Like, that came across as like such a James Gunn scene. Like that, you can't tell me like the Mr. Terrific scene and like what's that guy's name in Guardians of the Galaxy with the arrow? Yondu, like that scene, like they're the parallels of that, but like, I mean, you can't not like those scenes, you know what I mean? Like, no, it was outstanding. Like, I don't know how I felt about it being kind of like a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe with something as like quote unquote like pure as Superman, you know what I mean? But like it worked. Like, it took me a little bit of time to get used to it, and I think I kind of went into the movie with my own bias because like Man of Steel is like a favorite of mine, obviously. But like it worked and it delivered.
What did you think, Merv?
I thought it was a good, man. I thought I left there thinking that it was a pretty well put together film. Mm-hmm. I think that it focused a little bit more on Clarke Kent and Lois's relationship, and even that like 10-minute like
fight they had,
like little dialogue they had and fight. I felt like it did everything it needed to do for the film. Like, all the unanswered pieces, I felt like were there. Like, in the sense of like, how does he keep just like doing things on his own will without like thinking about anybody else? Why does he think it's okay? Like, you know what I mean? Why does nobody know what information about him and shit like that? And I felt like it was very well put together. I thought, like you guys said, Mr. Terrific was great. I thought Nathan Fillion was great as a Guy Gardner. I thought Hot Girl was great. I thought there was a couple of scenes that were kind of comic book corny, but they were a part of the universe, so I thought it was dope. I don't know. I thought there was a good mixture of comedy and like dark. You know what I mean?
James Gunn's good at that, man.
I felt like that dark scene with Nicholas Hoult when he was Lex Luthor and he shot the guy in the head. Like, I was like, yo, we've never seen something like this in DC.
Wow, the Russian revolver.
I was like, yo, we've never seen that. I said, we've never seen that and shit. So
even the way it was shot, like how the camera shifted from gun to thing, it was like POVs, but. Thought that was incredible, like you said. For me, that I think was the lowest part of the film is going into that portal or the dimensional. I thought it was like a CGI blunder, that little waterfall. Like, I could do without that scene, even with him like utilizing the whole pushing the air out of his mouth to. I'm like, you could do it the whole time, which is sometimes what I hate about Superman films, or it's like he forgets he has certain powers, and it's like, oh yeah, I can do that, and it's like, but like you guys said, it wouldn't be interesting if we didn't see him struggle. But I think what I love about that film is that Superman struggles more so as a human than he does as Superman himself. So seeing him be vulnerable and make these mistakes and him learning on the job just kind of resembles him being, again, like a year one Batman. Like, he was getting beat up in this film. He wasn't perfect. And then, we had teammates, David, who walked out and was like, how is that even possible? Zach was like, how is that possible? I'm like, man, Lex is that obsessed with him that he had the ultimate scouting report. When Kyle Julius talks about hitting your assignments, this is what Lex Luthor did. He created a clone, which also, by the way, I don't know if you guys caught that connection to Superman 3 or 4 with Nuclear Man, in a sense where it's like he cloned them. So James Gunn definitely took something from that but made it better. And he used a Superman clone, and I thought that was pretty cool. And he was literally in the penthouse like it was like playing video games, talking about L3 left 1 right, and that was cool. And I thought that was kind of serviceable to who Lex Luthor is, because it's like he is the guy that's in the penthouse and Superman has to go up to him and touch and talk to him. He's not the guy that's like in the basement like Mr. Cobbler, like a Penguin. Like, he's not like one of those guys. He's the Mole Man. Like, he's a guy that like, yeah, I'm up here, I'm affluent, I'm a genius, I'm a mogul, I'm a tech, and you have to come. I don't care if you're a god, you have to come see me.
Lex, I tried to stop him.
It's fine, Heather. Superman, we finally meet. Would you like a coffee?
Where's the dog?
Dog?
The dog, Luthor! You took the dog!
That's right, you get all of this.
Where's the dog?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
He's just a dog.
I don't know what dog you're talking about. Ugly dog in a cave.
What did you say?
And I really enjoyed that. And then lastly, I didn't even think we mentioned it, but the dog, man, Crypto. I haven't seen him in an adaptation like that in a while, and I thought it was cool to see him just being like just a bad dog, and that makes it even more relatable. Like Superman feel more human because like, man, we all struggle with pets sometimes, disciplining bad breed dogs. I know Macaw has a dog. I'm not saying your dog's bad breed, bro.
He is,
but I know it's a struggle to kind of discipline them. So I thought that was pretty cool. But are you guys excited for? Like, do you want another Superman movie, or what do you think is next when it comes to James Gunn and Superman? Do you think James Gunn is going to direct the next film, or do you think he's going to let someone else do it? How do you think, and what do you want for the Superman future?
I want at least 3 Superman movies before we talk, like even entertain Justice League or any of that stuff.
How many?
Like 3. I want to see like a spin on Brainiac. I want to see, you know what I mean? Like I want to see. I don't know about another General Zod because like I really did like the Man of Steel version of it so much, but like just give me a little bit more time like in this world that he built. Like I want to see him, like to your point, like make the imperfect perfect in terms of like his own personal struggles and his powers and things like that before we go like rushing into the Justice League.
What about you, Merv?
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think rushing into Justice League was the problem in the first place. They rushed into it because they saw the success of the Avengers, and like they thought that they had to do the same thing. And Justice League is one of those things that they thought that they could just throw out there because it's the Justice League. You can do that, but with all this story making and story building and world building and stuff like that happens in comics now, in comic book movies, like you can't do that.
You can't just throw them in there. I actually thought that took away from Batman vs Superman as well, because that even that scene of Batman emailing Wonder Woman's character and then showing her like the files of like, oh, I've been keeping tabs on Aquaman. I'm like, man, this is not the Justice League movie. That's too much Easter eggs of catering to like, this is coming. Yeah. Which again, I guess for some fans, it's like, oh yes, I can't wait. But like you said, I would have rather them set it up where it's like we have an origin story for all of these, and then we do this where it's like I've been keeping tabs on that. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you in the sense of wanting more Superman films before we jump into like the whole Justice League situation. Yeah. But I think I'm excited for what Marvel has in store, but also DC, because we're now getting back to the humanity of these stories. Fantastic Four. Yeah. It's not a Fantastic Four episode, but it's about family. Superman just about relationships and family and just all that kind of stuff. I think that it's not always about the action. We got to somehow find a way to balance out these like thematic things that we care about. Yeah. And I think that's what made it cool. Like seeing Superman bleed in the beginning, or we actually care. Or like, why is he? You know what I'm saying? But like I said, just the reason why I also think he's so patriotic too is because the symbol of hope, having the flag put up there, and if you want to get deep into it and see how the politics are from the real world are reflected into this film, the commentary on that I think is also jarring. But overall, I thought it was a good film. It's going to continue to make money. Really quickly, let's rank the Superman films, man. Where do you have, if you want to do a top 3, or if you do want to rank all of them, what is your rankings of the Superman films?
I'll go. You know what? I'll go this one, number 1, Man of Steel 2.
Whoa, brother, you came in saying Man of Steel.
You did come into the room saying.
No, I'm not trying to make you say you.
No, I'm not.
Why?
You know, I mean, reflecting, right? Like that's the thing, is like when you're presented with new information, are you willing to change your mind, right? I think Man of Steel is still one of my favorites of all time, but I mean, if we're talking about like capturing the essence of Superman, I think this new one did a really good job. I think in a lot of ways, Man of Steel did that almost equivalent, but I would probably say overall theater experience, this one won Man of Steel 2. Okay. And then 3, we're talking movies?
Yeah.
I'll probably say the first one of the old ones, yeah.
That's a good list right there. What are you, Merv?
Yeah, you're tripping. I'm going Man of Steel first. This new one second. I think that's just for nostalgia feel probably. And then I'm gonna go Batman vs Superman 3rd, and Christopher Reeves first, Superman 4th, and then I'm not talking about those other ones. So
I think
sorry. 5th would be the Superman Returns. Sorry.
Ooh, yep. Yeah, I think for me, I would definitely go this new Superman, then Man of Steel, then I'll go Superman 1 with Christopher Reeves, and then from there, I think you can have your pick out whatever you want. I'll probably go Superman 2, and then the other ones I don't really care for. But Man, it's been a great episode talking about Superman. We are now here at the heat check. Wait, before we get to the heat check, who was the best actor to play Superman? I know you said, was it Cavill?
Henry Cavill.
And Cavill for you?
Yeah.
But did you enjoy Corn Sweat? I know Tanner said he did. Did you?
No, I did still, but I'm not gonna lie. Still, I don't know. Henry Cavill just looks like Superman. I don't know why, but he just looks like Superman. It's a physical thing
for you. I like because the scene where he's talking on Lois Lane. I think that Corn Sweat, the way he was able to change his voice, when he would stop how you stop the thing, how you stop it, and then he would go back to being like, and then he would get frustrated as like Superman, being interviewed as Lois Lane. I thought that was pretty cool. For him to kind of change the way he was speaking.
So this guy just flew into Midtown and started attacking people, demanding for Superman to show up?
Yeah, it's all there in my article.
And I'd actually have to make it through your writing, Clark. Knowledge is worth many sacrifices. That isn't one of them.
Ha ha ha, very funny, Lois.
22 people in the hospital, over 20 million in property damage. It does make you wonder.
Wonder what?
As great as he is, maybe Superman didn't completely think through the ramifications of the Bravia thing.
Well, if this guy is even from Bravia.
What do you mean? His name is the Hammer of Bravia.
Yeah, I doubt his parents named him that, Jimmy. We have no clue what his actual goal was here.
I think it's pretty obvious the goal was kicking Superman's ass.
He didn't completely kick Superman's ass.
Pretty thoroughly, Clark.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think Henry Cavill looks.
Yeah,
like
it just
him.
looks like him still. That's all I'd say.
Yeah. All right. So let's do the heat check, man.
All right, bro. All right, Tanner, I got 5 questions for you. Nobody ever does really well because they're pretty hard questions. Dwayne sucks at them, so I do too. Damn. Well, actually, I'm actually pretty tough still, but I don't. People don't usually
I don't do a 1-3-1.
Oh yeah, this question is gonna be hard off rep. First question, brother. What was the name on the satellite that Superman and Zod smashed into when they were fighting?
Like what?
Bro,
why would
you know this? You know this. You know this too.
Oh,
I don't know it. I gotta pass.
Wayne Enterprises, guys. Wayne. Bruce Wayne. Okay. That's why I thought you guys were my fault.
In this last one?
Man of Steel. Man of Steel.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't hear what movie it was.
No, because
go ahead. I mean, I'm not playing 0 for 1.
All right, bro. Who is Lex's head sidekick?
Oh,
I don't know this one.
Is it Otis?
Yes, it is Otis. But you're not playing, so yes, that's over 2.
I can't help my man.
2.
Damn.
Yeah. What? Okay, this is an easy one. What is a substance Superman can't look through?
Can't look through?
Yeah. He can't use his X-ray vision through.
Like it's the one thing you can't see through.
One thing.
How do I not know this?
I know. Can I get him a hint, please?
Yeah, please.
Back in the day,
No. Give him a letter.
Okay, it starts with an L.
Lead.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you said?
Lead.
Oh yeah. Lead.
Okay.
All right, bet. So you're 1 for 3, 33%. I mean, that's all right, I guess. How tall is Superman?
Superman's gotta be at least 6'2".
6'4"?
Incorrect. He's 6'4".
I wanted to say 6'4".
I thought you were gonna say 6'4".
I wanted to say 6'4". Anyways, all right.
Anyways, so 1 for 4. So did you watch the early Superman movies?
Just 1 and 2.
Okay. In 2, Lois does this dumb thing to try to prove that Clarke Kent is Superman.
Yeah.
What is the action she does?
The Niagara Falls scene?
Yes. Yes. All right, good. All right, 2 for 5, man. 40%. That's not too bad.
Okay.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
On the 3-point line.
That's too bad. I didn't know a few threes. But that's the end of Heat Check. I guess it's the Let Me Put You On segment.
Yes, sir. Let Me Put You On segment. We suggest 2 films based on the episode that we talked about for people to watch. So for the first one, what do you have, Tanner? If you have 2 films to suggest for anybody out there to watch.
This could
Any
be
Superman
like
film.
Any Superman film. Any Superman film. God, I wanted The Flash to work so badly, but it really didn't. I mean, shoot, I gotta say, Batman vs Superman solely because of the fight scenes.
Yep.
If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. And yeah, I guess just Man of Steel, man.
Tough.
Yeah.
Merv?
I would say learn your history. Go back and watch the first Superman with Christopher Reeves. And then I would say watch Superman Returns. I would love to hear your opinion on those. Not saying they're the best. I would just love to hear your opinion on those two movies.
Nice. For me, I would say go watch the first one, man. Let's get it over $1 billion. Go watch it. If it's still in theaters around you, near you, go see it. And then for the second one, I would have to go... Man, I would have to go with Batman versus Superman only because my guy Batman's in it. So for me, I'm getting the best of both worlds in a sense. Yeah. So again, it's been a great episode having Tanner on. Wait, before I let you go, actually I did want to ask you this. This is probably dumb, but what do you think his metrics would be? Like if Superman was to come in and do the force plate, if he was to come in and do some of the different things that you talk about on your Instagram, which by the way, we're gonna plug his Instagram in a bit. And the reason why I love working with Tanner as an SNC coach is because most coaches just tell you something, but like when he puts you through an exercise or a workout or a movement, he actually explains to you like what the benefits of it is for. And as someone who does these things, it's like you want to know why you're doing something, right? You don't just want to listen to somebody for no reason. So it really benefits you, and then he takes care of you, man. When you leave to go for other teams, he puts programs together for you. It's my guy right here. But what do you think about Superman and his metrics? Like, what would you, if you had to guess, what would you think his metrics would be?
Okay, so probably do something speed related, probably do something jumping related, probably do something strength related. Speed, if we're talking like something that everybody's familiar with, like a 40-yard dash, for example, maybe like 0.2 40, a point like 200 millisecond 40,
yeah,
maybe.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw when he took out bro when he was holding Lois hostage.
No. I thought it was gonna be faster. Honestly, I thought it was gonna be
0.2.
I thought it was gonna be 0.02.
That's gonna be faster than a blink.
But
like if dudes are staying still, but like still kind of moving, and he's running.
He flexes his muscles and he's there. That's what I think. So
I think he's a 0.2 40 strength. Oh my god.
That's a planet.
I there's no way a million watts per kg. I don't know. And then jump.
Nah, because he can fly though. That's cheap.
That is cheating. You can't do it.
In the beginning, remember he couldn't fly in the beginning. He could just only do leaps and bounds. So his standing jump was probably elite. Crazy.
I'll give him a 10-mile broad.
Damn.
10-mile broad.
Yeah,
10 miles?
10 miles.
Man's broad jumping.
That's bounding.
Think about Man of Steel, man. What do you mean? He literally, when he was in Antarctica or wherever he's at, he was like jumping over literal mountains.
Vancouver. No, son. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
You were saying, do you think it'll be more this way jump or it'll be higher jump?
Oh, I didn't want to do vertical because like that's just he's flying at that point. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but broad, I'm like, at least you have a chance. It's like
he might be the best franchise basketball player ever.
Yeah, easily. How would you even be able to hide that kind of power if you played basketball? Like, say you wanted to play basketball and you had the strength and the speed of Superman. Like, you'd have to dumb it down by like.
Yeah, just go.
Bro, you'd have to dumb it down so crazy like it would make no sense.
He'd be miserable.
Yeah, like you'd suck.
Well, it's the same way he dumbs down being Clark in the newspaper.
I'll just tell you to toss the ball over the rim and I'll go get it. Still, just don't worry about anything. Just throw the ball up. I'll go get it.
Oh, that's crazy. All right, man. It's been a great episode. It's been fun. Tanner, appreciate having you on. You guys go follow Tanner, man. You want to plug your Instagram or anything?
Yeah, sure. Feel free to follow me at coach.care. Appreciate you guys having me on. Really enjoyed it, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being on, brother. Pause. But appreciate you, brother. As always, follow SceneDMs on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, obviously on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We have TikTok.
We have TikTok.
We don't have Snapchat. So working on that. We do have a LinkedIn though. You can also hit us up on there for any business inquiries. But thank you for tuning in and appreciate you. And we'll see you next time.
And big shout out to Marlon for making it out to edit this one. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Marlon, and appreciate you, Tan.
Yes, sir. Same time, same place next week.
All right, see you.
Yes, sir.